I'd like to call to order the meeting committee of the whole for Monday, November 17, 2014. Everyone stand, we'll start with our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you remain standing, I'll ask Trustee Hunt to lead us in prayer tonight.
Dear God, thank you for this day, for we have a great meeting tonight, and everyone stays warm. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 I'd ask that you all please set your phones on silent. Gentlemen, if you have hats on, please remove them. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, can we start with roll call, please?
Trustee Vendel?
Here.
Trustee Pearson?
Here.
Trustee Smith?
Here.
Trustee Hunt?
Present.
Trustee Brown?
Here.
Trustee Henyard?
Present.
Let the record reflect that all members of the board are here. We have a quorum tonight. Next thing on the agenda, order of business. Yes, sir. We'll get to those. Mr. Irvin?
Yes, Mayor. First of all, before we get directly into the agenda, I've had a request that we move item E into the second slot, which would be B. If that's okay with the board, we would move forward with item A, which is a customer service training update. As you're aware of, we have been under contract with Ms. Glumack, who is with South Suburban College, who has been conducting customer service training course classes with our immediate staff that handle the frontline people. And I would ask Ms. Glumack to come to the podium and give us your 5-minute tour, please.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes? No? No. Oh, just for the camera. Got it. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and ladies and gentlemen. As Mr. Urban had pointed out, my name is Alexandra Glumack. I'm with South Suburban College's Business and Career Institute. And it was Trustee Smith who actually reached out to me a matter of months ago with regard to the need for customer service training for various personnel of the village, especially the frontline workers who are working with residents and vendors and customers and so on. Before I get to what we've been working on for the past few months, I just want to give you a little bit of background about me and who I am as it relates to the college. First of all, I am a Doltonite, if there is such a word. I'll create it tonight, actually. I grew up in Dolton. I lived on Lincoln Avenue for the first 3 years of my life, and then we moved to the west side of Dolton that bordered on Calumet City, where I was until I was 10, and then we moved to South Holland. So Dolton is a very near and dear town to me because I grew up here and have a lot of roots here. My grandfather lived here until his passing, and my mom went to school in Thornton, and my aunt went to school at Thornton Ridge, so a lot of rich history with regard to my family and Dolton. So when Trustee Smith had approached me about doing some customer service work, I was actually very excited about it because this is very much a home to me still, even though I no longer live in the municipality. In addition to the fact that I used to live here, my background is psychology, and I have a master's degree in counseling psychology, and I worked in that field for a number of years before moving into education. And in my capacity at South Suburban College, I am a trainer. I do a lot of professional development training, so I go to various companies, organizations, municipalities, and provide any type of professional development training that they might need, everything from customer service training to conflict resolution to team building to ethics to harassment and diversity, and you name it, I've probably done it. So it was fitting for me to kind of take on this role and then ultimately establish a relationship with Mr. Urban so that we could put something together for the employees of this great town. So what we've been doing is a customer service in focus, but it has a lot of different elements to it. In addition to working with these individuals we started in August actually, I've met with them every month since August. We've been working on everything from the typical greeting of customers when they come in, to especially dealing with those that might be less than pleasant or somewhat demanding or perhaps even hostile. As we know, this is not an easy job that they have when you're dealing with individuals who water's going to be shut off, or they have to pay tickets or things like that. So it can be very, very taxing on the best of us in working with the public. So I put together a very intense training that focuses in on specific skills to help diffuse hostile and angry customers, and also it's to help the employees take more responsibility for their interactions with the customers. It's very easy to say that, oh, the resident was raising their voice at me, that the resident did this, the resident did that, but ultimately the responsibility comes from and is with the employee for how they interact with the individuals that come through the doors. So we worked a lot on the diffusing of the hostile customers. We worked a lot on emotions, managing your emotions, managing the way you speak to somebody, in the way that you say it, how you say it, what you say, and so on. There's certainly a way to interact with individuals without causing them to get even more hostile and more upset. I should point out that this kind of training, however, is not something that happens just like that, where everybody is fixed and everybody is wonderful and there's no problems here on out. This is a project that takes time and dedication, because we're talking about the fact that none of us ever went through school and learned how to be a good communicator. You didn't go through school for that. You learned history, you learned math, you learned English, you learned all of those basic things, but we didn't learn how to be good listeners. We didn't learn how to be effective communicators, especially when we're upset. And if we didn't have really strong role models with that, then we're taking along our parents' way of doing it, which may not be always the best and healthy way. So this is a work in progress. I plan to, with the blessing of the council and the mayor, to continue with this, to continue meeting with these individuals on a monthly basis, so that I can continue to impress upon them the importance of honing those customer service skills and really excelling in that area. On a side note with that, where that is concerned, Mr. Urban had asked me to draft a policy, a disciplinary action policy with regard to customer complaints, because individuals who do exceed and go overboard with the way that they interact with residents and customers, there should be some consequences for that. Absolutely. Absolutely, there's no doubt. So I have drafted that policy, which I believe, I know Mr. Urban has it, I believe that he has distributed it to the council. I'm willing to modify it and change it, but definitely I think that in order to impress upon the employees the expectation that customer service is going to be stellar customer service, not subpar customer service, that we have to have some sort of policy in place in order to continue to uphold those standards. So I'm more than happy to continue working on that. Again, I'm thrilled to be a part of they're a great group of people, and they need training and guidance and mentoring, and I would love to continue to do that. If you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer those. How much is what?
Yeah, the word.
Is whose salary connected? Their salary? Me, that's me. It's my, there's no, I get paid by the South Suburban College. I don't get paid by the Village College.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. As I had asked that we move item E up to B, that would be the Dorchester Management Agreement, and I would ask Ms. Thomas and or any of her representatives to come up to the podium.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I was asked to come this evening to discuss management contract as a result of our request to have some stability and understanding of where we're going with the management of the Dorchester. I provided the business plan at the beginning of this month, and today I provided the board, the mayor, and the trustees with a progress report which summarizes in bullet points for our initial findings upon arrival at the Dorchester, and then the accomplishments that we've made since we've been there. It's probably not an exhaustive list, but there it is. I do want to say that we take this responsibility very seriously, which is why I brought our team tonight so that we can have a robust and complete discussion. I have the usuals with me, Ed Campbell, our marketing director, Bakari Cowan, our director of operations, but I also have the corporate attorney with me, Robert Mintz from Stahl & Cohen, and Marsha Rubin, who is my accountant, who were my advisors in putting together a list of things that should be included. As I understood, you wanted me to state what it is that we want included in a contract. So I provided those things and provided you a summary of those things in writing. So basically, my understanding is that we're here to have a discussion, to answer any questions. It's not a decision-making night, and so we're open to whatever it is that you would have us to discuss at this point in time.
Welcome, Councilor. I'd like to respond to a letter that we received, I guess about a week ago, in your decision to discontinue service at the Dorchester effective December 1st.
Let me speak to that.
Okay.
We started with an interim agreement for 3 months because we came on board so quickly. There was only 2 weeks and no time to establish a contract. That interim agreement had certain parameters in there that we certainly did not intend to carry on forever. It was my understanding, all of our understanding at the time, that we would go from that interim agreement, 3-month interim agreement, to a contract. Because of so much that occurred, which I documented in that letter, with all of the surveys that occurred during that time, all of the preparation for annual survey, all of the things that were going on, we agreed to extend the interim agreement for 1 more month through October 31st. That gave us time to present the final document to you with a request to move forward with a contract. Since that time, I have been told on more than one occasion that there are financial issues and concerns, and I am certainly experiencing those as I try to take care of certain business matters. And I'm trying to address this without, going into a whole lot of details that maybe should not be discussed here in public. But I'm trying to take care of my company, trying to understand what it is that you would have us to do, and it is not appropriate for us to move forward with just a verbal understanding that we're supposed to be there. There is no written agreement at this time. There's no contract and no written agreement. And so I didn't know if the financial issues had to do with the village's inability to maintain the Dorchester. If so, I did not want to wait until the last minute and then hear that you're not going to maintain this or you're going to make a change or whatever, because we are the legal managers of the supportive living facility with the state. And if there's not going to be anything happening after November, there has to be a period of time where you notify the state that there's going to be a discontinuance of your management services or whatever is going to be discontinued. And if there is an issue about the Dorchester that, I've heard from so many different entities about whether it's going to stay open or close or what have you, we cannot wait till the last minute and then figure out what to do. If there is a problem that severe, I cannot run the risk of waiting till the last minute and then the media shows up and people are displaced. All fingers would point at me. So I had no choice except to say, you know, I guess you're not wanting our services, or because we don't have an agreement. We can't do it on a handshake.
Okay, I'm not certain of the date of that letter that was forwarded to us, but at the same time you forwarded that letter to us in regards to your discontinuance of service. Have you notified the state that you plan on discontinuing service at Dorchester?
No.
Okay.
No, I stated in the letter that I wanted to give you time to review that and to get back with us, and that I would be waiting until today. But after I was notified that we would be meeting today, I put that on hold.
Okay. So, Mr. Irvin, you had no further dialogue with Waken?
Other than when we received the letter, passing it on to the board members, I then reached out to Ms. Thomas verbally over the weekend. We had conversation. We talked briefly about the fact of that what she just explained, that she felt she was working without a contract. I explained to her that there was a formal vote taken, that there is a contract in place, and as my synopsis sheet says, it is only good until November 30th. It was a month-to-month agreement. In that time, I also asked her to put together what her needs are to maintain the Dorchester in a professional manner. And that's the documents that we received today, which are also, if I'm not mistaken, the same documents, meaning the dollars, that were presented 4 weeks ago to this board.
I do want to ask one question. It was not my understanding that this was a month-to-month agreement and that that would be the ongoing arrangement.
You said it was not your understanding?
No. No one has formally told me that.
Well, the clerk has advised me that there was a vote taken at the last meeting, and it was voted on at the last board meeting that it would be a month-to-month contract, extending that month-to-month. Maybe. We can't hear you. Maybe. I'm not sure if you were at the last meeting or not. Okay. I imagine your attorney wants to speak in your behalf now.
Yeah. Hi. Good evening, everybody. I'm Rob Mintz here on behalf of Awaken Alternatives. Pleasure to be in front of you. So the initial contract expired, right? According to its terms, it was a very short-term arrangement, and then it got extended by a month. But then, it's a bilateral agreement. It's not unilateral. It takes Awakened Alternatives approval as well, not just what the village seeks. And throughout this whole process, Awakened Alternatives was hoping to enter into a longer arrangement, a long-term arrangement, so that the residents would feel comfortable, the village would be proud of what's going on and how the property was being managed. That we would still like, Awaken Alternatives would still like that, correct, Genevieve?
Yeah.
So we'd love to move forward and become, so that we could count on or meet the village's expectations and know what our obligations are under the contract, not just on a month-to-month basis, but on a multi-year basis. Subject to termination clauses, et cetera, and proper performance, we understand, but we think we've done that. So we seek some direction from the village.
We did get the copies today. Thank you for coming out. I have to say thank you, as it is brutally cold. Thank you so much. However, when I did see
I heard
this...
we're all going to Sharks afterwards.
Went up there. I saw this and I just kind of put my brain on stop because we had just had a meeting, Genevieve and myself and Mr. Campbell, and we were trying to figure out ways to save not just money, but to save the Dorchester itself. Because it is one, it has been, as we said over and over again, it has been losing money. But it was losing money for certain reasons, and now to go in the opposite direction, it gives us a chance. So when I saw this, I just kind of shut down and shut my brain off, and I really did not want to look at it or address it because I was a little perturbed and a little hurt when I saw effective December 1st. So it took me a minute to get over it. However, I think that maybe your attorney and the village's attorney and our attorney, they need to be in some kind of constant communication, because if this is the direction we want to go in, because I will tell you, when I say I was perturbed because I felt like I was behind an 8 ball or in front of it. You know, that's how I felt. So I didn't really want to talk to, honestly, I didn't want to talk to you. But it's not about me, and it's not about you, as I've said over and over again. It's about the seniors that live there and the ones that we're trying to get to make this their home. So it's, again, not up to me. I am not a lone voice up here. I have 5 other voices with me. And they may have more questions for you. They may have more questions.
I certainly see the confusion if there was a formal vote on a month-to-month.
Yes, there was.
Which we did not know.
And see, I do apologize. I thought they were at the last
I didn't
meeting.
realize that that was a formal vote.
You weren't at the last meeting?
Wasn't there was a representative here at our board meeting.
So perhaps there was a misunderstanding. If it was our end, we apologize. We didn't realize it, and we're sorry. It's not meant to be offensive, but going into the contract, it was always under the hope and belief that it would morph into a multi-year contract, that Awaken Alternatives could plan on having this obligation growing with the Dorchester, trying to turn it around and work with the village, to the fullest extent we were able.
That was the direction I was hoping we would be going in, and I hope that we can still go in that direction. We have to make some major changes to go in that direction. I mean, major changes, things that would have to be in the contract. And see, this, I have to talk to our attorney, because they have to look at this contract and get back with us. They have to talk to all of us about this. I'm perturbed, but we can't just say, okay, we can do an RFP. We could do that, but we have somebody in place. Yes.
If you will. In the interim, in regards to the letter we received, it seems like it's absolute that Awaken plans on terminating their services as of effective December 1st. Today we're at the 17th, looking at 13 days where we will be without management of the Dorchester. In regards to giving ample time and ample notice, and I think we got the letter last week, you're looking at putting us in a position of having to manage the Dorchester in an approximately 3-week time period.
I think what we're talking about is that we did not realize that there was an intent or an expectation of a month-to-month agreement.
Okay.
That was not our understanding. Our understanding is that we have no agreement.
Okay.
And so when you have that, it's difficult to move forward. It's difficult to manage people. You cannot plan. You can't do anything. I don't know what a month-to-month means or its purpose or anything like that. That it has never been our intent to come in, do a month-to-month and just, after 30 days leave. It's too many things involved. It's too many people's lives and everything involved. And I needed to make sure that everyone understood that we're trying to do the best we can, but it's futile when you have such a short term and you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. it's just futile. I mean, you don't want to do too much of anything in terms of changing. I mean, how do you manage without knowing what tomorrow is going to even hold? That was the message that I was trying to get across with that. Not that we don't want to be there, not that at all. But I think that this is a partnership. And I mean, you own the building, you are in control.